Hi, welcome to Foodie. We're going to do a winter salad today since it's November, starting to cool off a little bit. It's a Polish salad made with beets. I love beets. Usually my beet videos don't do that well, but I love beets and I want to try this. It's called Buraczki, I think is how you pronounce it. And pretty simple recipe, so let's get started. First off, I've got my oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So these are going to roast in a pretty high temperature. I have, I think there's 6 beets here. I weighed them, it's about 2 pounds. Trimmed off the leaves and stems, which we use for other salads, or even cook them, a little bit of balsamic vinegar, love that too. So what we're going to do here is I've got a baking pan, got some foil on it. I've got a medium-sized bowl. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons, I think, of olive oil. All we're going to really do is coat these beets really good before we bake them. What I'm going to do is just barely trim off the root part. I'm going to leave the stem part on there. Mainly, I think that'll be a good way to hold these things. We're going to end up grating these on a grater, so I think this will be a good way to, little handle to put on there. Most of these are pretty well trimmed up already. All right, so just gonna coat these real well. Let's move this out of the way. There we go. Coat these good with the olive oil and just put them there in the middle of the baking pan. You know, beets are so good and healthy. They're great for blood pressure. And I might take this larger beet and cut it in half, just so that they cook it about the same length of time. So these are, medium-sized beets. What I'm going to do is just fold the aluminum foil. Get them covered good and bake them at 425 for about an hour. Now, as you notice, these were, medium size. So if you go to the store, sometimes they have these, big things. You'll either want to bake them longer or, cut them in half or cut them in fourths to get them the size of a medium-sized beet. All right, let's put this in here for an hour, and then we'll come up and while that's baking, we'll do our little salad dressing. There's lots of different versions of this salad. I'm going to do more of a creamy version, and it's actually maybe a little bit more of a simplified salad. So our base is going to be sour cream. And this is, similar to one of my other videos. It's a Russian winter salad, Olivier, I think is how you pronounce it. Lots of different ways to make that as well. So this is just one that I happen to like the best. So we're going to start with half a cup of sour cream. Got some fresh lemon juice. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons. And that looked like maybe it was 1 small lemon. Now I'm going to Americanize this recipe a little bit. You could put in a little bit of sugar, like half a teaspoon. Rather than the sugar, I'm going to put in like maybe a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, just because I think that would be a nice little addition. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then the real nice flavor comes from a 1/4 teaspoon of carraway seed. Okay, we'll just stir this up good. So when I can just set this in the refrigerator after I get it mixed up, just to keep it cold. If you don't have the caraway seed, I think dill would actually work nice in here. All right, let's give this just a little taste to see if it's gonna be sweet enough. That is good, but I'm going to, rather than a half a teaspoon, let's put a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. The beets have baked for an hour. Now I'm going to give them a little fork test. Just jab them with a fork and make sure they're tender all the way through. And what I found here on mine, there's one larger one that's not quite as tender as I want it. So I'm going to put that one back in the oven for about 10 minutes. I think my beets hopefully have cooled off enough. I actually stuck them in the refrigerator for a little bit, cool them off faster. So the first thing we want to do is peel these, and they should peel off very easy. Just kind of squeeze it, yeah, and the peeling just slides right off. Most of them slid right off. Some of these are a little bit tougher. So I'll just get the pieces that didn't slide off. All right, let's start grating these. We'll see how this little gadget works. All right, we got our beets all grated up in there. Now I've got one apple. I'm using a red apple, a Macintosh. You don't want like a Honey Crisp. You don't want them too sweet because you want to just kind of blend these flavors in there really nice, have a little bit of a tartness. So we're going to grate that on the same setting. And as I do this, of course, I'm going to go around the core. All right, we'll take this out and add the apple. All right, the only thing left to do now is to add our sauce. We'll stir this up good. I'm just kind of gently folding this in here so we don't smash up the beets too much. We'll put it in our serving bowl. All right, let's try this. I love it. Apple brings out a little bit of a tart and sweetness. I really like the little addition, the American version of the mayo in there. It's really good too. Just a real different side dish for wintertime. If you like the recipe, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to Foodie right over there. Thank you for watching.